The views and opinions expressed by the speaker, host, commentator, or other third party in Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of Ariva. Furthermore, Ariva does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and Ariva specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by, on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply Ariva's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy New Year to all of our participants this afternoon. Welcome to Ariva Academy's free live webinar, and we have a really interesting topic this afternoon. We have 25 powerful habits for unstoppable success. Really exciting, right? We are going to learn a lot from our speaker this afternoon. But before we get to know him and before we start our program, I have a few reminders just to make sure that our program will be running smoothly. By the way, I'm Kate and I'll be your host this afternoon, and I will be learning with everyone as well. Now, first, Ariva is committed to protecting your privacy. Hence, stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And if ever you are using your mobile gadget to view this webinar, you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, I want to know, do we have participants who is joining an Ariva Academy webinar for the first time? If it is your first time, can you type hi in the chat box? You can also let us know where are you located, just here in Metro Manila, or meron bang mga from out of town? Let us know in the chat box. Hi Ivan, hi Angelica. I know that we have a lot of friends who are from out of town. In fact, we have participants who are viewing us from Laguna, coming from Tagaytay, from Pampanga, from Bataan, even from Batangas, from Tarlac, coming from Nueva Ecija, also from La Union, from Pangasinan, from Baguio, from Nueva Vizcaya, from Isabela, from Tuguegarao, from Ilocos, coming from Bicol, from Visayas also, from Aklan, from Leyte, maupay nga hapon, from Tacloban, yes, from Cebu, from Surigao del Norte, from Cagayan de Oro, from Iligan City, South Cotabato, from Jensan, from Davao del Norte, from Davao City, from Cotabato City, and even from Zamboanga City. Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We are very happy to be with everyone right now. And also, aside from our participants who have joined us here in Zoom. We have participants who are watching us from the live streams right now. So hello to our viewers in Facebook, in YouTube, and also in LinkedIn. Good afternoon. Welcome to an Ariva Academy webinar. Now, let's do this. This was very important. I want to make sure that once the speaker is on screen, you will be hearing his discussion clearly. So type 111 in the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear. You can also type 222 if you can't hear anything, or type 2121 if you can hear me but the sound is choppy or I am breaking up. You can also type question mark if you don't understand what's happening. We'll try to help you out. Let me see. I am seeing a lot of 111s in the chat box. Thank you so much for that feedback. Later, we'll have a 5-minute break. And something exciting will be happening. If you've attended in the past, you're familiar with this. But for the benefit of those who are joining us for the first time, we have an exciting activity that will involve our Viber community. So as early as now, let me invite those who are not yet part of the Ariva Academy Viber community, get your gadgets and scan the QR code, because we want everyone to have a chance in joining that activity later this break time. I'll show you the bigger QR code. There you go. So whether you're watching via Zoom or via the live streams, scan the QR code because this activity is open for those who are part of the Viber community only. Okay, so I hope you're able to scan the QR code already. I'll be announcing that later. Now, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by our administrator during the discussion, just to avoid interruptions. But for those of you who would like to ask a question, instead of clicking the raise hand button, you can type your comments or your questions in the chat box. And then during our Q&A portion, we will be reading them. Now, an e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. And it will be available for both the Zoom participants and our live stream participants. But the certificates will be available 3 to 5 working days after this learning session. Now, for you to really make sure that you are able to receive the e-certificate, please make sure that the email address you gave us is the correct one. And you are able to fill out the feedback form that we will be sharing with you later before we end our session. So there you go. Now I'm sure you're all eager to get started and to get to know our speaker. Let me introduce him. Our speaker for this afternoon has been conducting seminars to various companies for several years now. In terms of career history, he spent most of it in banking. He started as an HRD officer, but he spent 10 years in banking as a branch manager of various universal and savings banks. His longest stay in one bank was with the Bank of Makati, where he worked as its training head, and in his last bank assignment was with City State Savings Bank as one of its vice presidents. Having left the corporate life, he now does a lot of speaking and facilitating engagements, sharing his knowledge, experiences, and expertise on various fields of self-improvement. On the personal side, he is happily married with 2 grown-up children. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our speaker this afternoon, Mr. Dennis Areño.
Thank you very much.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and welcome everyone to another webinar from Ariva Academy. So good afternoon. And
Good afternoon, Sir Dennis. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone, including you, Kate. And it's nice to see you again after several weeks of vacation and celebration because of the recent season. Okay, so let's get down to business again. Opening the year with a very nice topic introduced earlier already by Kate. Our topic for this afternoon is the 25 powerful habits for unstoppable success. So I hope everyone is comfortable wherever they are, wherever they're receiving this broadcast. And I'm looking forward to an afternoon of powerful learning, through our slides that we will present to you one by one. Okay, so without further ado, let me just share my slides and we will go right down to business now. Okay, by the way, my audio is okay? It's clear with everybody?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's begin our slide sharing. Okay. Okay, now let's begin our slide presentation. Okay, as was mentioned earlier, our topic is 25 powerful habits for unstoppable success. So hopefully, throughout the year, beginning this January, through the habits that we will take up today, this afternoon, we can all be guided how to be very much in tune with everything that we will be facing in our workplace, at home, and for some of us in school, with regards to how to be successful. If you will just acquire these habits on an everyday lifestyle, perhaps this will help us and guide us in being more productive in anything that we are supposed to be doing in our life. Okay, so let's begin with the objectives for this webinar. The objectives for this webinar, number one, is as follows. Identify and integrate key habits that drive consistent success and high performance in personal and professional settings. So as you know, habits is something that you apply both in the professional and in the personal side of our lives. So both may be applicable for us. Understand the psychology of habit formation and learn to build sustainable, success-oriented routines. Habits are basically routines that we have acquired because we have done it so often. So basically, if we can just cause these habits to be something that are productive for us, they can be very much helpful in whatever endeavors we are into. Develop a personalized action plan that incorporates impactful habits for achieving long-term goals. Master time management and productivity techniques to maximize focus and efficiency. Cultivate a resilient mindset and emotional intelligence for navigating challenges and setbacks. You will have habits that will be categorized accordingly and will be taking up all of these topics through all of these habits. Strengthen communication and relationship building skills that enhance professional and personal connections. And apply effective stress management and well-being practices to prevent burnout and maintain balance. Okay, with all of those objectives, let me just ask you this question first and foremost. What are habits? Okay, so habits, by definition, are actions that are a routine or practice performed regularly or an automatic response to a specific situation. Therefore, basically, when you have something that you are doing on a routine basis, something that you do every day, those are actually habits of ours. Like many things in life, habits either come in good or in bad form. By itself, habits are neutral in nature. For instance, the concept of leadership is neutral. Anyone can be a leader once he has followers. But if the leader has bad values, he will eventually influence his followers to have bad values also, and eventually do bad things. A leader who has good values leads his followers to doing good. Habits are also the same. They can either be good or bad. As we mentioned in the previous slide, actions and habits are interchangeable. One influences the other and vice versa. Similar to our mindsets and our attitudes, they also affect each other. And like all actions, they begin with our mind. Every day you use your mind in thinking. And whatever thoughts you make for yourself, they impact your emotions. These emotions then dictate the actions that you make. And whatever thoughts you make for yourselves, eventually, this becomes the source of everything that you do. Eventually, actions become routinary and they become habits. Eventually, these habits determine your character, which eventually makes up who you are. This is why it is very important to form the right habits in life so that you yourself will turn out to be the right kind of person that you want to be. All right, so just a bit of a uh, guide for this afternoon. These are the habits or categories of habits that we will take up one by one. So all of these are the categories that we have made the 25 habits to be under. You have goal setting strategies, power of consistency, networking and relationship building, mindfulness for success, time mastery techniques, cultivating gratitude and positivity, stress management techniques, optimizing energy and productivity, effective communication habits, and finally, building a resilient mindset. All of these categories will have habits under them, and we will take them up one by one, all 25 of them. So which ones do you think you need some improvement on in order to ensure success in life, especially in your business or in your personal life? So let's begin with the first category, goal setting strategies. One set of very famous habits is the one proposed by Dr. Stephen Covey. Have you heard of Dr. Stephen Covey? He has made famous his book called The 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And these 7 habits were presented through a framework Dr. Stephen Covey calls the maturity continuum. And these 7 habits are on the screen. Be proactive is the first one. Begin with the end in mind. The second one, put first things first. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Synergize, then sharpen your saw. His book says that whatever your present situation is, you are not your habits. Therefore, you can replace all destructive habits with new habits of effectiveness, happiness, and trust-based relationships. Hence, this webinar is actually all about changing our bad habits, should you have them, and replacing them with good habits, those ones that would make any individual unstoppable in achieving success. All right, let's start with the first habit, be proactive. As we describe proactivity, let's also describe what it is not. Okay, so being reactive is the opposite of being proactive. And being reactive is when people don't take responsibility for their own lives. On the other hand, to be proactive is the opposite. The most important things that humans have is their ability to think. Animals do not have this ability. Only humans have this freedom to choose their thoughts. You can control your mind. You have the ability to control your moods, feelings, and thoughts. And by doing this, you can change your circumstances and conditions. Hence, to be proactive means taking initiatives. When you are proactive, you take full responsibility over your life. You have the ability to take actions and make things happen. There are 2 kinds of problems or obstacles we face in our life. The first type of problems are you have absolutely no control over, and these are only quite a few. For example, falling from an airplane without a parachute, or drowning in the middle of an ocean and you don't know how to swim. These are situations you absolutely cannot do anything about anymore. However, for most other problems, you can do something to reduce their impact on you. In the case of problems you have some control over, the author of the book, Dr. Stephen Covey, suggests to focus your time on what you can control instead of spending your time focusing on what events that you cannot control. Take some actions to reduce your problems. In life, when our circle of influence shrinks, that's when our focus is reactive. But when our focus is proactive, our circle of influence expands. Let's see an example scenario. To do that, let's watch and follow this next video.
What is this principle? 10% of life is made up of what happens to you. 90% of life is decided by how you react. What does this mean? We really have no control over 10% of what happens to us. We cannot stop the car from breaking down. The plane will be late arriving, which throws our whole schedule off. A driver may cut us off in the traffic. We have no control over this 10%. The other 90% is different. You determine the other 90%. How? By your reaction. You cannot control a red light, however, you can control your reaction. Do not let people fool you. You can control how you react. Let us use an example. You are having breakfast with your family. Your daughter knocks over a cup of coffee onto your business shirt. You have no control over what has just happened. What happens next will be determined by how you react. You curse. You harshly scold your daughter for knocking the cup over. She breaks down in tears. After scolding her, you turn to your wife and you criticize her for placing the cup too close to the edge of the table. A short verbal battle follows. You storm upstairs and change your shirt. Back downstairs, you find your daughter has been too busy crying to finish her breakfast and getting ready to go to school. She misses the bus. Your spouse must leave immediately for work. You rush to the car and drive your daughter to school. Because you're late, you drive 40 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour speed limit zone. After a 15-minute delay and throwing a $60 traffic fine away, you arrive at school. Your daughter runs into the building without saying goodbye. After arriving at the office 20 minutes late, you realize you forgot your briefcase. Your day has started terrible. As it continues, it seems to get worse and worse. When you arrive home, you find a small wedge in your relationship with your wife and daughter. Why? Because of how you reacted in the morning. Why did you have a bad day? A. Did the coffee cause it? B. Did your daughter cause it? C. Did the policeman cause it? Or D. Did you cause it? The answer is D. You had no control over what happened with the coffee. How you reacted in those 5 seconds is what caused your bad day. Here is what could have and should have happened. Coffee splashes over you. Your daughter is about to cry. You gently say, "It's okay, honey. You just need to be more careful next time." Grabbing a towel, you go upstairs and change your shirt. You grab your briefcase and you come back down in time to look through the window and see your child getting on the bus. She turns and waves. You arrive 5 minutes early and cheerfully greet the staff. Notice the difference? 2 different scenarios. Both started the same. Both ended different. Why? Because of how you reacted. You really have no control over 10% of what happens in your life. The other 90% was determined by your reaction. Here are some ways to apply the 90-10 principle. If someone says something negative about you, do not be a sponge. Let the attack roll off like water on glass. You do not have to let the negative comments affect you. React properly and it will not ruin your day. A wrong reaction could result in a losing friend, being fired, or getting stressed out. How do you react if someone cuts you off in the traffic? Do you lose your temper? Pound on the steering wheel? Do you curse? Does your blood pressure skyrocket? Who cares if you arrive 10 seconds later at work? Why let the cars ruin your drive? Remember the 90-10 principle and don't worry about it. You are told you lost your job. Why lose sleep and get irritated? It will work out. Use your worrying energy and time to find a new job. The plane is late. It is going to mangle your schedule for the day. Why take out your frustration on the flight attendant? She has no control over what is going on. Use your time to study, get to know the other passenger. Why stress out? It will just make things worse. Now you know the 90-10 principle. Apply it and you will be amazed at the results. You will lose nothing if you try it. The 90-10 principle is incredible. Very few know and apply this principle. The result? You will see it by yourself. Millions of people are suffering from undeserved stress, trials, problems, and headaches. We all must understand and apply the 90-10 principle. It can change your life. Enjoy it. It only takes willpower to give ourselves permission to make the experience. Absolutely everything we do, give, say, or even think is like a boomerang. It will come back to us. If we want to receive, we need to learn to give first. Maybe we will end with our hands empty, but our heart will be filled with love. And those who love life have that feeling marked in their hearts.
All right. So, how did we all find that video? According to that video, 10% of life is made up of what happens to you. 90% of life is decided by how you react. That's why the author of the book, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, in particular the first habit, which is to be proactive, was very serious about what his suggestion was. His suggestion is that our way of controlling should always be proactive. Always have our circle of influence dominate our life, not allow ourselves to be dominated by our circle of concerns. Okay. So the second habit, which is begin with the end in mind, these are how people do not practice this habit. On the other hand, people who begin with the end in mind keeps their eye on the ball. Their targets are their main concern. Their objectives are what drives them. For people who habitually begin with the end in mind, they are always preoccupied with reaching their vision statement. This is clear with them, and so they strive to achieve this all the time. Okay, let's take habit number 3, which is putting things first. People who do not practice this habit are not very effective in their work. However, if you are somebody who habitually practice this habit number 3, you never lose focus on what your purpose for being. You are not easily distracted by other concerns that come up your way. You do not have much problems with applying discipline in your life. When what are urgent conflicts with what are important things to do, you clearly know which to do first. To illustrate, in this illustration, you have things that are urgent to do, and you have things which are important to do. Applying our habit number 3, how would you handle it? You actually have 4 scenario combinations. They are important but urgent, important not urgent, not important but urgent, and not important and not urgent. This actually is a diagram which was made famous at least by the former United States President, Mr. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Hence, it eventually was named after him, the Eisenhower Matrix. In this matrix, you have important and you have urgent. Important activities that represent your mission, roles, values, and high priority goals, while urgent activities are those that require immediate attention. In this diagram, or in this matrix, you've got 4 quadrants. Q1 we can refer to it as effectiveness. Q2 are basically activities which we can consider as wasteful for over time. Q3 are distractions, and Q4 are necessities. Okay, so let's take them up one by one. Q1 or quadrant 1 are things not urgent but important to do. Quadrant 2 are things to do that are neither urgent nor important, therefore they don't really need much of our attention. Quadrant 3 are things that are urgent but not so important to do, and therefore we can actually delegate them to other people. And then quadrant 4 are things that are both urgent and important to do. Okay, in this diagram, to decide on what to do, it's suggested to do away with tasks in quadrant 4 immediately, while keeping your focus on quadrant 1 in certain situations. You may therefore need to do quadrant 4 and quadrant 1 almost simultaneously, depending on how urgent is urgent and how important is important. As for quadrant 3, these are what you get others to do for you, while in the case of quadrant 1, these you do if you have time still to spare. So remember, when applying habit number 3, always focus on quadrant 1 even as you handle quadrants 3 and 4. The way to handle quadrant 2, just dump them. These are not very significant activities. Quadrant 3, you delegate them because these are activities which you can actually entrust to other people. In quadrant 4, these are the activities which since they are both urgent and important, you have to manage them. You may not necessarily have to do them right away because they are actually quite urgent. You have to actually give it much attention immediately. Whereas in quadrant 1, since they are not as urgent as others, you may consider them, but consider the urgent ones first. Habit number 4 is our fourth habit, which is think win-win. Here is how it is when you do not practice this habit. What then should be the correct attitude? As with most questions in life, the usual answer is, it depends. Generally, we say effective people think win-win, and the ineffective people are the opposite, but not in all cases. If you are in a game or in any competition, the more appropriate attitude is to think win-lose or just win, correct? Let me explain further. All right, in this diagram, we also again have 4 quadrants. You lose-win, that is what we refer to as accommodating. Both win, we refer to it as collaborative. Both lose, we refer to it as avoiding. And win-lose, we refer to it as competitive. In the first instance or scenario, win-lose, a good example of this is when you are in a game, as I mentioned earlier. You only have one objective, and that is to win over the opponent. However, this is not always very good in business relationships. The second scenario is lose-win. Charity work perhaps is a good example of this scenario. When you do things for others, even though you are inconvenienced or even at your loss, is how this scenario is played. This is also not very effective in business relationships. Both lose. This is not a favorable choice for anyone since nobody wins. And the fourth one, just both win. This is the most preferred choice in relationships because even though you look after your needs, you're also considering the needs of others. This is where collaboration usually occurs. So here are they all. Win-lose, competitive. Lose-win, accommodating. Both lose, avoiding. And both win, collaborative. Okay, habit number 5, which is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Okay, habit number 5. What happens when the opposite is practiced? These people put forth their point of view based solely on their autobiography and motives without attempting to understand others first. However, communication is crucial in any relationships, and relationships are likewise very significant in achieving success. No person can be successful in his pursuits if he stands alone. He constantly needs to coordinate with other colleagues, customers, and contacts for him to get to where he wants to go. This means he needs to understand others first to know how to successfully communicate with them. If people will just master this habit, there will be less misunderstandings. Generally, people will not take the initiative of understanding you unless you understand them first. All right, our 6th habit is synergize. Those who do not practice this cannot be very effective. Again, so ineffective people believe the whole is less than the sum of the parts. However, we should appreciate the idea that 1 plus 1 is not always equal to 2. When we combine hydrogen and carbon dioxide, for example, we do not come up with just 2 elements together. We combine them and we form water. 2 heads, when combined, do not just result into the ideas of the 2 individuals. They come up with so many possible ideas. This is why synergy is a real requirement in achieving success. And then we have habit number 7, which we call sharpening the saw. To cap our first 7 habits, we can appreciate the concept of continuous improvement. This is called sharpening the saw. Everybody knows that when you're riding a bike, the minute you stop pedaling, you will most definitely fall. That's what happens when we do not sharpen our saws or ourselves. The same is true in life. You cannot achieve successful living in a plateau. Sooner or later, you will regress. To be progressive, your direction should always be upwards. We can experience failures from time to time, but our direction should be in a general direction upwards. All right, so much for our first seven habits, which is under the first category. The second category we will take up is the power of consistency. When you're consistently good in character and competency, people will start trusting you and will thus pave the way for you to achieve success. One such habit to help you is the habit of being faithful to our commitments. What are the things you said before that you will do but never got around doing it because of distractions? There are so many of us here today who just are kind of wanting to do something. You need to stop that. True commitment is being able to say whatever it takes. This means staying loyal to what you had committed to do. Talking about loyalty, all of these expressions on the screen of loyalty point towards keeping your support towards someone or something. It means not giving up on a person, an ideal, or a principle. It means backing up. It means not giving up. It means backing up, rather, that person regardless if that person is at a disadvantage. True commitment means never having to give up on someone even though things seem hopeless. The next habit, number 9, is the habit of walking your talk. True consistency is proven by the way you behave versus the way you talk. Another way of saying this is to quote our former bank president when I used to work in one of the banks that was mentioned earlier: say what you mean and mean what you say. It is quite a hypocritical statement to say, don't follow what I do, just follow what I say. Our statement should always match our lifestyle. Anything else is hypocritical. Habit number 10 is the habit of being responsible. Taking responsibility means acknowledging and accepting accountability for one's actions, decisions, and their consequences. It involves being honest about your role in a situation and being willing to face the outcomes, both good and bad. Here are some other definitions of being responsible: being the one who must answer or account for something, being the cause or explanation for something, being able to choose for oneself between right and wrong, or requiring a person to take charge of or be trusted with important matters. All right, we go to habit number 11. Here are some characteristics of a humble person. Self-aware. When a person is self-aware, they are aware of their weaknesses and are willing to learn and improve. Peace-loving. They are at peace with themselves and others. Open-minded. They are open to new information and constructive criticism. Good listeners. They are good listeners and make others feel heard and understood. Appreciative. They are appreciative of others and express their gratitude. Responsible. They take responsibility for their actions and accept the consequences. Forgiving. They are quick to forgive and slow to offend. Teachable. They ask for help when needed. By the way, take note of the definitions described also on the screen, because what I'm just telling you is actually just supplement to what's already shown on the screen. Then also, I would suggest everybody to take notes also, so that you can actually go back to them as we go through our webinar, so that when you need to go through them, to go back to them for reference later on, you have something to fall back on. All right, continuing with our next category, networking and relationship building. As I mentioned earlier, keeping relationships is crucial in our pursuit for success, since success cannot really be achieved by ourselves. To build relationships, number one is our integrity. The habit of maintaining integrity. It means exercising the highest ethical standards in all personal and professional dealings. The root word of integrity refers to the word integer, which means whole. Just as we would talk about a whole number, so also we can talk about a whole person who is undivided. A person of integrity is not divided, meaning not a different person in different circumstances. A person of integrity is the same person in public that he or she is in private. And then we have mindfulness of success, our next category. Similar to the habit of beginning the end in mind, we should always keep our eye on the ball. This means maintaining personal discipline within ourselves. And habit number 13 is the habit of maintaining personal discipline. It means being able to say no to doing things you know you shouldn't do, and being able to get yourself to do things you know you should do when and where you're supposed to do them. In other words, self-discipline is the power to manage our thoughts, emotions, or behavior in the face of temptations, to deviate ourselves from a specific goal. It also refers to the ability to compel ourselves to do things we know is the right thing to do, even when we do not want to do them. Then we go to number 14. Basically, just to supplement what I just said, maintaining personal discipline also means going the extra mile and rising above distractions. The next category is time mastering techniques. Okay, so discover techniques for effective time management and prioritization. It means complementing doing things right is doing them at just the right time. Even with the best intentions, if we get there late, our plans may not be worth anything if we do not get to do them on time. I will show you a video in our next slide, just to give us a very clearer understanding of what it is to be on time. Another word for being on time is actually punctual. So let's watch this video.
One of the problems that I face is getting places on time. And that's an important problem to deal with, because it not only then wastes my time, but it wastes other people's time too. And I learned about how to do this well from my wife, Eleanor. And Eleanor is really, really great with time. When I have to get someplace, we were, for example, Eleanor and I were traveling to a party, and we'd gotten in the car, and it was 6 o'clock, and the party wasn't until 7. And Eleanor was starting to get stressed out. And I said, why are you stressed out? Like, what's the problem? We're like an hour early. And she said, but Peter, we're 3 hours away from the party. We were upstate New York. The party was in New York. We're 3 hours away, right? We'll never get there in time. We're going to be 2 hours late. And I said, but we're not late yet, right? Because it's still an hour before the party started. We're not late yet. This is my problem with time. Here's how she fixed it. We have to be at the party at 7 o'clock, which means that we have to arrive in New York by 6 o'clock, which means then that we have to leave upstate New York by 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And if we're going to leave it, let's say 3 o'clock, that means that we have to have finished lunch by 2 o'clock in order to get everybody and the kids packed in the car and go, we're going to finish the lunch by 2 o'clock. Then that means that we really have to come in from skiing. We have to come in from skiing by noon, which means if they're going to get their 3 hours of skiing and they got to really get out skiing by 9 o'clock, if they're going to get out skiing by 9 o'clock, we have to wake them up at 6 in time for breakfast. And if they're going to get a normal, decent amount of sleep, they have to get to bed by 8 o'clock, right? Because they're young kids. And if we have to get by 8 o'clock, we have to feed them dinner by 6. And I'm sitting there 2 days earlier thinking I'm already late for the party in 2 days. And yet, she's right? That if you're going to get somewhere, you have to work backwards from where that place is. And you have to do what I call building in transition time. You have to build in transition time. There's no way that we can go from a meeting that ends at 4 to a meeting that starts at 4. We can't do it. And if we're booking meetings in Outlook, 1 hour meeting slots, even if you're on the phone, even if they're conference calls, you can't make that switch fast enough. And when you do try to make that switch fast, you lose all the benefit of thinking about what it is that you're going to accomplish. We have to go to half-hour, 45-minute meetings. We need 15, 20 minutes in between to think about how to make the next meeting productive, how to make the most use of what's going to happen next in our day so that we can really be present to that, so that we're not checking email in the middle of it, so that we can actually do what we need to do that would normally take us an hour and a half. We can do it in half an hour or 45 minutes. That transition time makes our day go much more smoothly. It ensures that we end up where we need to be in time, and it allows us to be present when we're sitting in the room doing what we're supposed to be doing.
All right, learning from that short video, I think we'll be finishing quite early today. So I would advise everyone to take note of all the slides that I'm flashing on the screen. And if you have some questions on any screen, on any habit that I have flashed already on the screen, please take note of your questions, because we will have question and answer after we finish all the 25 slides or the 25 habits. In about 15-10 minutes, we will take a break. And then after that break, we will continue our webinar. And once we finish, all your questions will be considered through Kate, our coordinator for this afternoon. So just remember, if ever you have questions on any habit that was flashed already or will be flashed later on, please take note of them, and we will answer your questions after the 25 habits have been flashed throughout our webinar. All right, so to continue our webinar, it says here to always be on time. We can try the following tips. For example, plan ahead. When we plan ahead, we track how long tasks take you and plan to arrive early to account for unexpected delays. A general rule of thumb is to add 25% to your estimated time. Number 2 is set reminders. Set an alarm or remind yourself why you want to be on time. And then third suggestion is to avoid last-minute requests. Say no to requests that might make you late. And then be organized. People who are conscientious, organized, and mindful of details are more likely to be punctual. And then lastly, consider your public image. Being on time can make you seem responsible, reliable, and professional. So again, it's very crucial. Sometimes impressions count a lot. When you're trying to project an image wherein it would be all dependent on that when you actually pitch whatever you are making in your business. So make sure you're always on time. Remember, another word for being on time is to be punctual. The next habit is the habit of taking breaks. Giving yourself some time. Giving yourself some time means taking time to yourself for rejuvenation and relaxation. It is important, just as important as giving time to other activities. At minimum, take short breaks during your busy day. You might purposely schedule time in your day planner just for yourself so that you can recharge for all the other things you need to do. Learn your red flags for stress and be willing to take time to do something about it. Our body, though they may be well-oiled machines, can only function if we give it time to rest and recover after using it for some time. Next, we have the category of cultivating gratitude and positivity, or our being resilient in our plans may not be very successful if we do not learn to express our gratitude to people who have helped to get where we want to go. If you were to translate a popular saying in the Philippines, it would sound like a person who does not look back at where he came from will not get to his destination. Original Filipino version goes like this: ang hindi lumilingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paroroonan. Or in English, again, a person who does not look back at where he came from will not get to his destination. Next habit is the habit of saying thank you. It expresses appreciation and gratitude towards someone who has done something kind or helpful for you, making them feel valued and acknowledged, which strengthens relationships and fosters a positive social interaction. It's essentially a polite way to recognize someone's effort and contribution. Here are some quotes on why thank you are two very important words. Showing gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful things humans can do for each other. Another quotation is the heart that gives thanks is a happy one, for we cannot feel thankful and unhappy at the same time. Another quotation is be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. Very nice quotations, I think. And then we go to habit number 7, the next habit, the habit of praying before meals. It's a way to express gratitude to God for the food provided, acknowledge that all good things come from Him, and to practice humility by remembering that we are not the source of our sustenance. It's a moment to focus on thankfulness and appreciation before eating. Just as we should be grateful to the ones who prepare food, so also should we also be grateful to the one who ultimately gave us the food we eat every meal. Making this as a habit will train us to be grateful in a lot of other things. So remember gratitude to God. Acknowledge that He is the one who provides for us. And this will also allow us to practice humility. And once we are humbled in our character, we can practice the other habits more effectively. The next habit is the habit of having concern for others. There's no other way to give ourselves a clear understanding of how to have concern for others other than give you actual action word examples. So here are some actual word examples. So to have interest, to give regard, to pay attention, to give notice, to care about, to be affected with, to look closely into someone or something, or to give importance to someone or something. Here's a quotation from Albert Einstein. Concern for man and his fate has always formed the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget, this is in the midst of your diagrams and equations. As you know, Albert Einstein is quite the man when it comes to diagrams and equations, yet he gives priority to having concern for others. Even though he is an expert already on diagrams and equations, he gives it much importance and significance also. All right, we go to stress management techniques. Here are some practices which reduce stresses. These are methods that prevent burnout and promote well-being. In our pursuit of success, oftentimes we can encounter times when we get all stressed out emotionally. How do we handle such times? Here is one habit that may not be oftentimes done by people, but I would recommend, it is something that you would benefit a lot. This means spending some concentrated time alone for at least 15 minutes of prayer, at least, reading the Bible or even singing praise songs. If inspired, this can even last for an hour. Okay. Consistent quiet time with God allows us to be filled with the Spirit, to feel refreshed and renewed, so we can pour that back out unto others and reflect Christ out into the world. Okay, so getting inspired ourselves will allow us to inspire others also. Let me quote the verse this time. Jeremiah 31 verse 25. For I will satisfy the weary soul, and every languishing soul I will replenish. That's from the Bible. All right, the habit of forgiving those who have offended us. Offenses can really be a huge hindrance for anyone who's working on success. The way to unburden yourself with these heavy loads is just to let them go. Whether or not your offender had apologized, just forgive them in your heart. Matthew 6:14 this time. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. So remember those verses, remember those principles, because after all, these help a lot in relieving ourselves of the stresses we get in our day-to-day living. Okay. Optimizing energy and productivity. Okay, we're nearing almost the end of our 25 habits. This category is techniques for peak performance, from sleep habits to nutrition and exercise. Earlier, we talked about relieving our emotional stress. This one, we're relieving our physical stress. Doing the right things may not always be enough. We should also always do things right. To get the maximum benefit from your efforts, make sure your body is well managed also. So the habit of getting regular exercise. Exercising regularly can help relieve some symptoms of depression and stress and help us to maintain our health. At minimum, take short breaks during your busy day. You might purposefully schedule time in your day planner just for yourself so that you can recharge for all the other things you need to do. Learn your red flags for physical stress and be willing to take time to do something about it. We all have our red flags, both in our emotions, both in our bodies. So make sure we're conscious of when we have reached our red flags already, and we need to relieve ourselves and we need to address these red flags. Okay, effective communication habits. Develop powerful communication skills that enhance relationships and professional networks. I cannot overemphasize being an effective communicator. Many disasters could have been prevented if only communication was done well. For example, saying please. The habit of saying please. It is a polite way to make a request, demonstrating respect and courtesy towards the person you are asking something from, essentially turning a potential demand into a more considerate plea. It fosters positive interactions and helps create a sense of mutual respect in a conversation. Some people prefer kindly instead of please, but either way works. Both are okay as long as it is accompanied with a warm and cooperative tone of voice. So remember, respect and courtesy. These are crucial in our communication process. Habit number 23, just before we take our break, asking for forgiveness to those whom we have offended or apologizing. And there goes my alarm. Okay, we'll just finish this habit number 3 and then we go to our break. Asking for forgiveness to those whom we have offended, apologizing is a way to show that you accept your mistake, have learned from it, and are willing to take responsibility for your actions. It can help heal hurt feelings and rebuild trust. Once you had offended someone, this could cause guilt and then grief. Set aside those obstacles by apologizing. The practice of humbling may be difficult at first, but a big relief once done. I shall continue the balance of my explanation of habit number 23 as we go on with numbers 24 and 25 later on after the break. So as committed, because I've made my commitment also already earlier, we will take the break at 2:45. So Kate, are you there? Shall we take our break?
Yes, we are ready to take our break. Thank you so much, Sir Dennis. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So now we're going on our break. And I mentioned when we started that we have an exciting activity for everyone, whether you are watching via Zoom or via the live streams in Facebook, in YouTube, and in LinkedIn. You can join this activity as long as you are a part of our Viber community. So we will be showing you the QR code. Can we show it to them? Let's show the QR code. There you go. Scan this QR code. Scan the QR code that you are seeing on your screens right now. Do that. Okay, we'll give you a few more seconds to be able to do that, because the only way that you will be able to join this activity will be through Viber talaga. So if you are sending your answers somewhere else, hindi namin ma-accept unless it is sent via Viber. Okay, ayan. We'll be showing it again. Sorry, nawala. Ayan na, we'll be showing it to everyone again. We'll give time to everyone para maka-join sa ating Viber community, because we're going to play a game, and this game again will be through Viber. We are going to look for 2 winners. Each winner will be receiving 200 pesos in cash. Ayan, so there will be 2 lucky winners who will be 200 pesos richer. So I hope everyone is already in Viber. And we're going to play a game. The game is called, yes, we've shown it already. It's called the Guess the Movie. This is how the game will be going. You will be seeing short clips or short trailers. Can we post the code also here in the chat box to my technical team? Let's send it in the chat box para ma-access ng mga hindi pa nakasali sa ating Viber community. You can look for Ariva Academy in Viber also. You can do that. Look for Ariva Academy. And then look for our Viber community admin, 𝐼𝐵 Again, the Viber community admin is 𝐼𝐵. That is where you will be sending your answers only. Viber Ariva. So 𝐼𝐵. Okay, that is where you will be sending your answers. So the short clips that we'll be showing you, we want you to guess the complete and correct title of that movie. It has to be sent through 𝐼𝐵 in Viber. Now, para lang lahat tayo all on the same page, let's do a trial run. I want you to start guessing the title of this movie even if wala pang prize. Okay, let's start now.
We're all working our way up call sheets to sign clients. From the bottom to the top. From the doorman to the CEO. They'd stay till 7, but I had Christopher. In order not to waste any time, I wasn't hanging up the phone in between calls.
Okay, thank you very much.
I realized that by not hanging up the phone, I gained another 8 minutes.
There you go. I am seeing your chats at ang bilis-bilis lumabas ng mga sagot natin. I am also seeing answers being sent via our Zoom chat box. Again, we will be disregarding those answers that are sent somewhere else. Pag hindi Viber community, hindi natin i-acknowledge. So only those who are sent via Viber will be accepted. The answers that you're sending are Forrest Gump, The Pursuit of Happiness. Forrest Gump, let me just go back. There are different spellings of happiness as well. Pursuit of Happiness, The Pursuit of Happiness. So those are different answers. Let us see what is the title of that movie. It is The Pursuit of Happiness. Ayan. And happy is with a Y instead of an I. There are a few who sent that, pero marami ang nag-send ng real spelling ng happiness. HIPPINESS. But we are really looking for the exact title. So the spelling should be correct. The number of words should be correct. Bawal yung may sobra, bawal din yung kulang. Okay? Now, you know already what to do. We're very excited because this next clip will give you 200 pesos. Let's watch it.
At last, ready to make my fortune. My first day as a future master of the universe.
I have X on it, 86.25 6 months ago. Today it is trading at 36.5. Mr. Black.
They called it Black Monday.
Okay, so I am seeing a lot of answers. The Wolf of Wall Street, The Black Monday, Catch Me If You Can, Titanic. Tama ba? Pare-pareho ba tayong napanood? The Wolf Street. Wolf Street. One moment, checking. The Accountant. I am also seeing some messages that you can't send a message in Viber. Yes, unless you send it to 𝐴RIVA, our Viber community admin. It has to be sent a direct message to 𝐴RIVA. Hindi talaga makakapag-send sa group. It has to be through 𝐴RIVA. Okay, so let us reveal what is the title of that movie. And the title of the movie is The Wolf of Wall Street. And the first one was able to send that. We have Aidan Ong. Congratulations, Aidan. Congratulations. Ikaw yung una na nakapag-send talaga ng complete title. And that's why you are our first winner. You will be receiving 200 pesos. Aidan, this is what you have to do, okay? Listen carefully. You have to send your GCash account details, your account name and account number to 𝐴RIVA as well. And then wait for your prize. We will be sending it to you in a little while. Now, Aidan, because you've won already, you will not be able to join the game anymore. We will be giving chance to the rest of your co-participants, okay? Congratulations again, Aidan, and to the rest of our participants, whether you're in live stream or Zoom, may one more 200 pesos at stake. Baka sa'yo na to. Let's watch this.
Okay, let me just review this with you. You have 6 bridesmaids. You ordered 6 of the Silk Chiffon Antoinette dresses in pink. The wedding is in 3 days, and the dresses just arrived all in charcoal gray, which we don't even sell, so that is a bit of a mystery. Okay, here's what we're going to do about this. I'm going to call the vendor and have this fixed today. I will personally see the dresses before they are FedEx, and I promise you they will be at your front door by 9 a.m. Friday, okay?
There you go. Ang bilis ng messages. You are really sending me them so fast. I'm having trouble reading the messages that you're sending. But here are your guesses. The intern. The Devil Wears Prada. Devil Wears Prada. What are the other answers? Let me go back. Intern. There is The Intern, and also there is Intern. The Devil Wears Prada. Devil Wears Prada. What are the other answers? Let me check. Okay, so those are mostly puro ganyan ang mga sagot that you are sending. Let us see what is the title of that movie. And yes, it is The Intern. Congratulations to our last winner this afternoon. Congratulations to Star. Star, you are 200 pesos richer. Congratulations. Wow. Star, send your GCash account number and GCash account name also to 𝐴RIVA. We will be sending your prize later this afternoon. Congratulations, Aidan, and congratulations, Star. They are our 2 winners. And thank you to everyone who joined our game this afternoon. I hope you guys enjoy that. Now, I'll be moving on to my other announcements. I still have some other announcements, and then I'll be giving the floor back to our speaker. First, stay on top of our insights and updates. Stay connected with Ariva Academy. You can join our Facebook group. You can also like our Facebook page. You can follow Ariva Academy in LinkedIn, and also you can visit our website, ariva.com.ph. There you go. So that's our website, And marami pa rin ako nabasa ng mga answers that are sent not in Viber. So that means may mga talagang hindi nakapasok pa sa ating Viber community. We will be giving you another chance so that the next time you join, you can be part of our activities that's exclusive for the members of the Ariva Academy Viber community. So scan the QR code. Here you go. I'll be showing you the bigger QR code. There you go. Scan that QR code right now. Scan it, scan it, scan it. Para talaga makasama kayo sa ating Viber community. Aside from the games, aside from the prizes, you also will be learning something new every day because we share something new always to our Viber community. You can also be part of our polls. A lot of exciting activities are in our Viber community. So we are looking forward to welcoming everyone there. Now, if you missed the past live webinars that we started offering last 2020, all you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channels, Ariva Academy and Ariva Talk, so that you can watch all of them. And if you're interested in watching the webinar that we are having right now, this free live webinar, pwede ninyong ulitin, okay, via our YouTube channels. Again, Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Just in case may mga na-miss out kayo na mga number ng habits, pwede ninyong i-watch again sa ating YouTube channels. Now, I mentioned that we started offering our free live webinars last 2020. It was in the middle of the pandemic when we started doing this. And we'd like to continue. It has already become our mission to continue spreading knowledge through our free live webinars. So for those of you who would like to be a part of it by sharing your blessings to us, you can send it via GCash, or if you are watching via Facebook Live, you can send us stars in our Facebook Live. We'll greatly appreciate it. We'll be using the blessings that you share with us to continue this mission. So thank you so much to everyone. Now, if ever you're interested in inviting our speakers to conduct an in-house training program, we can help you out with that. Just give us a call, send us an email, and then let us know what program you're looking for. Here are some of the programs that we offer. Here are the topics, but we have a lot more than that, okay? So call us, email us, and then we will help you partner with the right speaker under Ariva Academy Speakers Bureau for that. Now, let me invite you to some of our upcoming learning events. This is on January 21 already. 2 topics: how to protect your network and lessening data privacy and cybersecurity risk. In the afternoon, we have ethics, privacy, and employee and clients data management. Again, this is on January 21. The next one, 2 topics still: reducing operating expenses and cost-effective operations. Those 2 topics will be discussed on January 22. Now on January 23, creating powerful presentations. Simplify the bookkeeping and accounting basics. That will be our topic on January 24. January 30, we have key strategies for effective credit analysis and management. And also, on the same day, we have improving your accounts receivables collection skills. Now, this is on January 31. We have our winning sales in 2025. Transformative sales strategies for exceptional success and market leadership. Again, this is happening on January 31 already. A free live webinar will again happen, this time on February 6th. Our topic will be advancing gender equity in the workplace, creating inclusive cultures and fostering a sense of belonging. Again, this is on February 6th already. Next is on February 12th, BIR computerized accounting system. February 20, fundamentals of cash flow and working capital management. And then on February 21, the etiquette edge, business etiquette and social protocol for the modern workplace. And on February 27, I'd like to invite everyone because we are having our first summit for 2025, and it is the Achievers Leadership Summit 2025. Empower, engage, elevate, building future-ready leadership. This is on February 27 already. That is next month. Looking forward to having everyone there with us. Now, I would like to say thank you to our major sponsor from Fly-Ace Corporation, Daily Fix. Maraming salamat to Daily Fix. If ever you get to join our face-to-face learning events, you get to try out Daily Fix. We distribute this to all of our participants. So again, to our sponsors from Fly-Ace Corporation, thank you so much for Daily Fix. There you go. I will be giving the floor back now to Sir Dennis because we still have a few more habits left to discuss. Sir Dennis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kate. And good afternoon again to everyone. I understand there was some numberings that needs to be corrected, but don't worry, towards the end of the webinar, after I finish all the 25 habits, I will show you a summary of all those habits so that you will know which habit actually goes to which number. So for those who message me in the chat box regarding the numbering, we will address that towards the end of the webinar. Okay. To continue, let me share my slides again. Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay. So we ended a while ago with this habit number 23, the habit of asking for forgiveness to those who may have offended or apologizing. Once you have offended someone, as I was saying earlier, this could cause guilt and then grief. Set aside those obstacles by apologizing. The practice of humbling may be difficult at first, but a big relief once done. So, how do you do that? First, acknowledge your mistake by taking responsibility for what you did wrong and showing the other person that you realize that you messed up. Express regret. Show true contrition and remorse for the pain you've caused. Make amends. Be open to making amends and try to compensate the person you harmed. Apologize sincerely. Make a heartfelt and verbal apology. Avoid judging yourself too harshly. On the other hand, don't fight for your right to be right all the time. Approach others before they complain. Consider reaching out to those you've harmed before they complain. In business relationships, in personal relationships, it can be helped. Sometimes we may not have purposefully done it, but we may have offended other people. So it's just natural that we include the habit of asking for forgiveness in our array of 25 habits. It's always beneficial for anybody to acquire this habit so that whenever the time comes, you would not be having such difficulty in restoring or recovering or having the relationship back to where it was by just apologizing to the person concerned. All right, so our last two habits is under the category of building a resilient mindset. Cultivate mental toughness and learn how to thrive through setbacks. So finally, if you want to be unstoppable in your efforts for success, learn to be resilient. Dictionary defines a resilient person as someone who is able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult situations. So number 24 is the habit of building your character. If there is something that anyone should be very careful of, it is someone's own character. The person who has the best character would have the source of all the best habits. Here are some quotes on character. Talent can bring you to the top, but only character can keep you at the top. All right, so I hope that's clear. Even though you have even if you have a very quite a number of talents with you, and it has brought you to the peak of your career, eventually, for you to stay there, you need to have your character checked. If not, Eventually, from the top, from the peak of your career, it may not necessarily last because if your character is not checked well. Okay, so number 25 habit is the habit of being respectful and being respectable. Respecting others means treating people with kindness, dignity, and empathy, and acknowledging their value and capabilities. It also means valuing their feelings and views, even if you don't agree with them. It therefore goes without saying that a person who has excellent character is a respectful person. He recognizes the value of people. And the other side of that is being respectable. Respectable people conform to socially acceptable behavior, attitudes, and taste. They may also have good social standing or reputation. A respectable person is someone who is honest, good, and proper, and who deserves respect for being honorable or moral. If you are a resilient individual, no matter what challenges you face, you remain to be respectable. No matter the difficulties you face, you remain to be the person you started off, a person other people would always have no problem respecting. And now, as promised, to summarize our 25 powerful habits for unstoppable success, here they are all again. All right, goal setting strategies. 1 to 7, be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize, then sharpen your saw. Together, they form the maturity continuum framework of Dr. Stephen Covey from his book, The 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. Those were our first 7 habits. The second category we had earlier was on the power of consistency. Habit number 8, being faithful to our commitments, walking your talk, being responsible, being humble. Next category was networking and relationship building, or maintaining our integrity. Next category is mindfulness of success. Number 13 habit was maintaining personal discipline. Mastery techniques, number 14 is always being on time. 15, taking breaks, giving yourself some me time. Number 16, under a different category now, cultivating gratitude and positivity, saying thank you, praying before meals, having concern for others. Stress management techniques, these are next category, spending regular quiet time with God, forgiving those who have offended us. All right, and optimizing energy and productivity. Number 21 habit, getting regular exercise. And then effective communication habits. Number 22, saying please. 23, asking for forgiveness to those whom we have offended or apologizing. And then finally, building a resilient mindset. Number 24, building your character. And 25, being respectful and respectable. These are our 25 powerful habits for unstoppable success. Okay, so I think now we will entertain questions from the audience. Any questions from anyone? I think Kate instructed us to type them up in the chat box.
Yes, Sir Dennis, we have some questions that were sent already, but for those of you who would still like to ask a question, type them in the chat box so that we can read them. But let me read the first ones that are sent. Okay, this one. Sir Dennis, what is your recommended strategy for those struggling on consistency and developing good communication for an introvert?
I'd like to understand it better. Was he referring to himself as the introvert or a person
yes.
addressing?
He is an introvert and he's struggling with consistency and good communication. So which of those strategies should he work on?
Actually, in any endeavor that you would like to be an expert on, the way to start becoming one is just to start it off. For example, if you consider yourself an introvert, what would you like to become afterwards, after some time? You would like to, as you said, become more consistent. I would imagine that you're your concern is to be more sociable, becoming more, becoming less, becoming more confident rather in communicating with others, and becoming less hindered in approaching individuals. Honestly, when I was a very young kid, that is also my problem before, because I was the shy type of a person, and I just countered that by just getting myself stepping forward, and then just approaching people whom I wanted to approach. Sometimes you may fumble in the beginning, but that's all right. That's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Just practice approaching people, and that's how you become consistent also, because as you practice, as you keep on doing them, it becomes a habit, and eventually as you do them repeatedly, you correct yourself in the course of time, and eventually you get used to doing the right thing already as you do them repeatedly. So don't give up. Just keep on doing it. Just keep on approaching people, and don't mind if you're committing some mistakes from time to time. That's all right. Just keep on doing them. Be confident and be courageous about it.
Thank you so much for that. Now, for our participants who are still asking for those number of habits that they missed, I mentioned a while ago that you can rewatch our whole free live webinar in YouTube. So just in case may mga na-miss out kayong in-note, you can watch it via YouTube again. Okay, let me move on to our next question.
You can take note of the summary at the end, para you won't get lost in the numbering.
Here goes. The next question is, what is the key thing to remember when starting a habit to ensure its success? That's a very nice question. Since it's the new year, they want to start anew. So what do they have to do to ensure that it will be successful?
Yeah, like all habits, similar to what I also mentioned earlier, like all habits, you start off by just doing them. There's this shoe commercial which says, "Just do it." If you remember, you just start doing it. If whatever you want to do as a habit, just start doing it, and just keep on repeatedly doing it. And if ever you do commit some mistakes while doing it, while repeatedly doing it, you just be conscious of what mistakes you made, correct yourself, and then the next time around that you want to do it, that you'd like to do it again, make sure you're conscious of the mistakes that you made before. Don't commit the same mistakes anymore, and just proceed in doing what you want to do. And eventually, these things that you repeatedly are doing will eventually turn out to be habits. Hopefully, as you keep on repeatedly doing them, it will turn out to be habits. And these are good habits, hopefully, that you are targeting yourself to get used to doing. Okay? Back to you.
Thank you. Next question. We have this. How do I defeat procrastination? And how do I spot procrastinators in my team members?
For your team members, give them some sort of like a regular check. Like if you have subordinates under you, I'm assuming you're a leader. So, from time to time, ask them, how are you doing in this area? How are you doing in this assignment that I already gave you some time back? I hope you won't do it constantly, continuously. That would be some sort of like you're micromanaging. That would not be something that we're suggesting. But what we are suggesting is that you ask them from time to time on a not so often routine how they're doing. For yourself, you can recognize procrastination when you put yourself on a schedule. Make sure that you have put yourself on a schedule know when you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, and also with your subordinates as well. Have a timetable, have a schedule with them to know when they're supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, and check up on yourself and on your subordinates if they are able to do or accomplish what they committed to do on what particular schedule, or when you actually assign them to do on what particular schedule. That's just it. And then if they have not been complying, then you can just remind them that, we talked about this earlier. How come that this has not been achieved yet? Maybe you can be execute more empathy. How come this has not been done yet? I mean, what seems to be the problem? What can I do to help you? Always have that characteristic of empathy, because you're trying to help your people achieve their goals, and if they're not achieving them, perhaps they need some help from you, being the leader yourself. Okay.
Thank you so much. We have a few questions here sent in our Zoom. Okay, this one is from Jessamine. Another interesting question. What habit do you believe is the toughest to first develop and toughest to keep?
I would need to review all the 25 habits. What is the habit of this, I suppose, hardest to keep? Is that it? Is that what she is asking?
The hardest to develop first, and then hardest to keep.
Okay. Develop. Maybe discipline. Self-discipline. Actually, when you have accomplished self-discipline, the other habits would easily fall into place. Because if you have trained yourself already to follow a certain pattern, a certain rule on yourself, all the others would follow. That's the number one problem of people having New Year's resolutions. They promise to exercise, but they never get to exercise. They promise to diet, they never get to diet. So I suppose I would think that would be the hardest to develop, and also to keep. Maybe I would also say it's the same thing, because when you've already conquered self-discipline, everything else would fall into place. The other habits would fall into place once you've set your mind on those targets for yourself. Then, because you have self-discipline, everything else would follow. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much for that. We have another question here. This one is, I think it's personal, and it's from Diana. It's hard to believe in yourself that you can do something you want, particularly improving oneself, when you are surrounded by negative people and they keep dragging you down to their level. I built my resistance to these people throughout the years, but sometimes it's really hard to ignore them, especially when you are at your lowest. Can you help me and people who are experiencing the same challenges? This is a call for help, Sir Dennis. How can we help Diana?
I would suggest they say the best defense is a good offense. There's a saying which says, killing a person with kindness. Okay. You return every negative reaction that you get from people with a positive reaction to them. It's not very easy, I know. It's not very easy to counter negative reactions with positive reactions. But again, it's all a matter of disciplining yourself to be proactive rather than reactive. The first habit we discussed earlier. Proactively, take the best effort to show kindness to these people. Have your best foot forward always. If you are constantly being annoyed by them, I would suggest also, if you are a person who believes in God, it would help a lot also if you take seriously my suggestion earlier about having a quiet time with God, because that would relieve you of a lot of stress. Having a person who have read maybe Psalms and Proverbs at the start of the day. If you remember those verses that you read, perhaps you can be reminded of them when people are actually ganging up on you, so that those words from the Bible can really counter those people giving you unpleasant words, so that you can avoid being affected by these people. The way to survive in that kind of environment is to be able to have all of those thoughts and words bounce off from you. I would suggest overlook them. Just overlook them. It's not very easy again, but just overlook them. And if you are, they say also again, you cannot just ward off something without replacing it with something else. So if you ward off those quote unquote attacks on you, you have to replace those with something that would be counter the stress points that was hurled against you. And again, I would suggest I would go back to the Bible and reading some scriptures at the start of the day to equip you to carry you throughout the day, to equip you to be able to ward off those kinds of attacks. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much for that. And may I add, they can also start developing the habit of forgiving others.
Correct.
With that, because once you forgive others, it will free you, it will give you peace, so you won't feel heavy anymore, you won't be at your lowest anymore, because whatever it is that they do, you can just forgive them and then you can move on.
That was mentioned also in one of our habits.
Yes, I think that was number 20, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now, I'll move on to the next question. Here is a question from Leia, and she is asking you, Sir Dennis, what are the top 3 habits you favor?
Okay, to be more consistent about what I'm going to answer, let me just review them. Wait, para lang we are... Okay, top 3. Again, I mentioned earlier already about the being disciplined, self-disciplined. That I think is number 13. Maintaining personal discipline, that's one. That's top for me. Spending regular quiet time with God, that's number 2. Because I would believe that if you have the armor and the ammunition that will carry you through the day, you'll be well taken care of. And number 3 is building your character. Okay, so number 1 is to be disciplined. Number 2 is getting God on your side, and who will be with you for the rest of the day through His words in the Bible. And number 3 is to build your character. And when you build your character, you will become also the kind of person that you want to be. After building your character, anywhere you go, every time that you leave a place, every job that you leave, every neighborhood that you leave, everywhere that you leave, you'll be leaving your legacy there. So the character that you left with them would be your legacy with them. So, I think that would be a good thing to have with you wherever you are. Those 3 things.
Thank you so much. And I think we will be down to our last question. Let me just go back here in the chat box. Okay. Okay, this one is from Maybell. What will you suggest to someone that has no confidence and still doubting her abilities and capabilities and fearing failure?
In your life, I'm sure you would have some successes that you have gone through. Maybe they are not major successes, or they may have been major successes, but you may have not given them much attention or significance. So remember and recall those successes that you have already achieved before. And then try to take on projects, take on assignments that are not so difficult, so that you would have some achievements to add to your earlier successes already. So with those successes earlier and those small achievements that you will have in the next weeks and months, you would probably have some confidence that you already are getting somewhere in terms of your abilities. So if you have enough baby steps, so to speak, in terms of your achievements, then recall all of them all the time, always, so that you can, whenever you're facing difficulties, challenges that are above the level of challenges that you faced before, you would probably can recall that, those things, those times that you had difficulty, you were able to pass them already. So maybe in the next time that you face another challenge, you might be able to pass them already. And remember the seventh habit of the first 7 habits that we took up, sharpening your saw. If you're always sharpening your skills, that will also give you confidence and also allow you to be more successful in whatever you do, because you're training yourself, you're studying continuously. So both your mind, your body, and your skill set are always in check. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much. Wow, I am seeing a lot of our participants saying thank you to Sir Dennis. We are really grateful for everything that you have shared, and I am sure we will be able to use what you've shared to us this afternoon as a way for us to really be unstoppable this 2025. Because of that, we'd like to present you with a certificate, Sir Dennis. Let me show this and let me read it. Ariva Academy, learning development at its finest, gratefully presents the certificate of appreciation to Dennis 𝐏𝐸 𝐺 for imparting his professional expertise, valuable insights, knowledge, and wisdom as resource speaker during the conduct of online learning session entitled 25 Powerful Habits for Unstoppable Success, given this 14th day of January 2025 via Zoom conference, signed by J.M. Atienzo, Chairman and Chief Strategist, Learning Event Producer, and Irish Samson, President and Chief Learning and Development Strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a round of applause for our speaker, Sir Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Dennis. We are very excited to start 2025 right with everything that we have learned from you. Now, for all of our participants, let me invite everyone to turn on their cameras. We'll be having a group photo. But again, let me remind everyone, we posted links for the feedback form here in the chat box. Whether you're watching a live stream or in Zoom, please make sure you fill out the feedback form and then submit it back to us so that you will be receiving your certificates. And again, you can rewatch this very powerful session in our YouTube channels. Go to Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks in YouTube so you can watch this one again. Okay, I think we are now ready for our group photo. Make sure your cameras are turned on, okay? Let me call on our technical director, Direct Josh. Please help us out.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Kate. Good day, guys. So we have 2 shots of group photo this afternoon. Are you guys ready? Come on, guys, open your cameras. All right, going once, going twice. All right, I think we're good. For the first shot, can we do 2 thumbs up? How about 2 thumbs up, guys? Pair it with your biggest smiles. Alright, hold those smiles in 3, 2, 1. Alright, for our second shot, can we do finger hearts? Hand hearts? Come on, guys, show us some love. Alright, hold on to those hearts in 3, 2, 1. Alright, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Miss Kate, take it away.
Thank you so much, Direct Josh and our whole tech team, and to all of our participants this afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us, whether you joined us in Zoom, in LinkedIn, in Facebook, or in YouTube. Thank you for being with us, and we're looking forward to welcoming you again in our future learning events. Happy New Year again, everyone. God bless you all.
Thank you.
𝐿RIVA Academy would like to thank the following win-win partners. Official media partners: Zoe Broadcasting Network, Give Love, Celebrate Life, A to Z, Kompleto Tayo, Light TV, God's Channel of Blessings, Light TV Radio, DZJV, Business Mirror, a broader look at today's business, Manila Standard, defining the news, Digital Media Partners, Globaltronics, leading digital innovation, City Advertising Ventures Corporation, we move your brand, Outcome, Elevate Media. 𝐿RIVA Academy would also like to thank the following companies. Craving something real? We serve it. Burger King. Top Healthy Chicharron, the healthiest chicharron on the planet. Yummiest cashew nuts. Lotus Biscoff. Daily Fix. YA's Corporation. Purple Rockstar. Be on top, stay on top. Sun Life, helping clients achieve lifetime financial security and live healthier lives. Mighty Tech Advertising and Merchandising. Le Jardin Printing Services. Creative Voices, Certified Voice Artist Program. Queen Bee Waxing Salon, where smooth skin begins. Nails.glow, your self-care partner. Samaras Farm and Resort,